In this video, we're going to talk about one of the most valuable skill sets in sales. It's also probably one you've never heard about, and it likely wasn't covered in your standard sales training. But it's probably the most important in becoming an efficient closer and sales professional. So stick with us as we talk about when to kill a deal and knowing when to walk away. I'm Benjamin Kowalski with Freight 360, where we provide the latest transportation sales tips and training videos to help you reach your goals faster. If you're a fan of the content, please support us by crushing that like button and sharing us with all of your colleagues. For more information on our course and freight broker basics, be sure to click the link in the show notes or go to freight360.net for more free training material. In most sales training, you will learn about how to qualify a lead. That's the process of gathering information to evaluate a prospect's potential value to the company or sales rep. And the reason you do this is to avoid wasting hours over weeks and months pursuing a relationship that doesn't have the potential to need or really pay for your services and your time. Because we all only have so many hours in a day, days in a week to accomplish our goal of turning prospects into customers, right? And for every lead you spend time on, that's time you didn't spend on another lead. So to increase your efficiency in prospecting, you have to disqualify leads far more than you will qualify them. And since there will always be more losses than wins in the sales profession, minimizing your time kissing frogs that never turn into princes is really the name of the game. For freight brokers, and honestly, all sales professionals, managing all of the opportunities at the top of your sales funnel is difficult. Which do you pursue? And once you've started pursuing a lead, when do you give up on that lead? Now, it's also in the company's best interest to make sure that its sales staff are spending time pursuing the highest value leads and opportunities. And that's based on a combination of really the probability of closing that potential prospect and the size of that prospect or potential deal or volume of freight in working with them. Now, once you start to pursue a sales lead though, think about it. You are putting in a lot of time. You're putting a lot of effort into this. And that time and energy makes it more difficult for you to walk away from that prospect, making it harder for you as you dump more and more time and phone calls into it to actually give up and cut your losses when you probably should. Now, in addition, to costing yourself the investment of energy on low value leads and prospects, there's also opportunity costs. You've got limited time, right? Every minute you spend on something with low expected value is a minute you don't have for other prospects that have potentially greater value. Now, these problems, they're even bigger for sales professionals who by nature don't like to let go of a possible sale until it's pulled out of their cold dead hands, as they say, right? Salespeople were gritty by nature, right? Especially the successful ones. Now, that same attitude, right, of being gritty gives you this peace of mind that you really never have to give up on anything and wonder, what if, right? But remember, this is always a bad use of resources, and it can be a prescription for failure, right? Because we just desperately want to know that that prospect we're working on is either worth money or know for sure they weren't worth any money, right? But the reality is you're probably not ever going to know for sure, and it makes much more sense, again, cut your losses when you've got enough information to make that decision. Now, one of the ways to do this is setting out kill criteria. And that's really valuable in helping you make decisions within the sales function, really making them more rational and more efficient for you. For example, I worked with one of my clients. We're going to call them ABC Logistics. And we worked with them to help them to develop and implement, call it kill criteria, into their sales processes. Now, when I started working with them, their freight brokers or their sales staff, they had a lot of difficulty letting go of what I would consider low value leads. And that's partly because the company also had a culture that reinforced this idea that walking away from any opportunity was going to cost the company or the rep money. Now, as I said earlier, a salesperson's time is very valuable and it's a limited resource. And any time spent on a low value lead is time they can't spend on a higher value lead or developing a new lead altogether. Now that means that if they don't quickly identify and kill the leads that are likely going to be dead anyway, right? In reality, that's what's slowing their progress. So creating this set of kill criteria helps the sales team cut their losses faster when the signs are clear enough. Now, to develop the criteria, we started by working with them to determine a list of signals that would tell them that an opportunity isn't worth pursuing. So we set the stage for the discussion by asking this question first. Put yourself in this position. Imagine you were pursuing a lead that came through email as a request for information or a request for proposal, right? RFP, RFI, RFQ, one of the three, right? Now, it's 9 months later and you've been onboarded, but you've not moved any loads with them, right? So looking back, you realize there were early signals that this prospect probably wasn't going to be a profitable customer in the first place. Now, in general, right, this technique or idea of looking into the future, right, imagining failure and then looking back now to try to determine why it happened is called a premortem. Now, using a premortem, right, it's a great tool to help develop and have quality kill criteria. Now, this particular prompt that we gave them, right, that question, helped them come up with early signals of failure that freight brokers, salespeople, and all of us in general, we tend to overlook, we rationalize, or we ignore because of the time we've got invested. In other words, we're looking for the kinds of indicators of the things that are not going well that intuitively we should have been paying attention to, but didn't. Now, there were several signals or criteria that were mentioned from the team, including some of these, right? For example, well, we later found out they only shipped LTL. They only move 1 or 2 truckloads per month, we found out. Later, we found out they only do seasonal business and the rest of the year they don't ship anything. And this is a big one. They've never discussed the full details of their lanes, or my favorite, the prospect went straight to pricing over and over and over multiple conversations and never seemed to have any interest or concern for the service, right? The care of their freight. That's a big one for someone that's probably not going to be a good customer, right? Now, what we did from there is we turned these signals into the set of kill criteria. Some signals were strong enough that if you heard one, you could stop pursuing that lead immediately because it was clear. Now, an example of one that I use, right, is 20 full truckloads per week. If they're not shipping at least that volume most of the year, you know, they're probably not going to be large enough or a fit for me to want to work with them. Another one of my kill criteria, and one that you can maybe use, is, hey, has this shipper ever worked with a freight broker in the past? Some companies have a hard and fast rule of only using asset carriers, so it's better to know that up front. Now, if you're a freight broker, maybe with a specific niche, for example, like cross-border freight, or you only ship, over-dimensional heavy haul stuff, your kill criteria could be that the shipper actually operates or ships products in your niche. Or there's another one, that the shipper you're talking to and prospecting actually is responsible for tendering the freight out of their facilities. Now, these can be different in each company, and it can be different for a freight broker to the next, each freight broker, right? The important thing is that you should determine your own kill criteria, not just apply someone else's or mine, because each business and individual freight broker or sales rep in another industry, right? You're going to have different goals. The company's going to have different goals. You're going to have different experience levels in your industry, and you're going to have different time horizons when you expect to earn certain growth goals or income, right? So it's really important to take yourself through the premortem process of projecting yourself into the future and trying to look back. Now, for my client, creating this set of kill criteria, it really helped their sales team managers manage their funnels and the sales professionals or freight brokers manage their funnels more efficiently. And what that does is it made sure they were spending more of their time on the highest potential opportunities and killing the low value ones as fast as possible. These kill criteria gave the team another way to win. Company evaluations of freight brokers and teams, right? Of course, they still involved how much revenue, how much money and profit they're generating, and how many loads they're moving. But now they also have included how well they follow the kill criteria to managing their lead. Now, for naturally gritty people, right, who live to close the sale, Giving them that extra way to win is crucial to getting them to quit when the time is right. I've coached managers that have gone so far as to have weekly goals or monthly goals for killing a certain percentage of prospects in your active funnel. Now, requiring that at least a small percentage of those leads are killed on a regular basis, this is really like a positive spin on a negative action of eliminating something. And what that does is it really helps sales professionals make more room for the valuable ones. So next week or in the next few weeks, when you're reviewing your sales funnel, make sure to review the leads for characteristics that can help you weed out the losers faster so that you can spend more time on the leads and prospects that are going to actually impact your business. For more tips on building successful freight brokerages, check out our website, freight360.net, for more info on our course, Freight Broker Basics, where you'll learn everything you need to know to earn a living as a freight broker and what it takes to build a successful freight brokerage.